The Trump administration believes it is getting close to an agreement with Iran as U.S. officials await a response on the key points of their proposed 14-point plan. Among them, Iran would commit to stopping uranium enrichment, while the U.S. would lift sanctions against the country. Iran would also ease its grip on the Strait of Hormuz, and the U.S. would scale back its blockade. This comes just one day after Iran's foreign minister traveled to Beijing to discuss the ongoing U.S.-Iran talks with Chinese leaders. Correspondent Joe Khalil is following all of these developments and joins us live from Doha. So, Joe, the clock is ticking once again for Iran.
Yeah, it is. And look, we've been here before. This is a familiar situation, another deadline for Iran that the United States is trying to enforce when it comes to this one-page memo that lays out a proposal, a deal that could bring this war to a close. And what that would look like, let's remind folks at home, would be for a moratorium on Iran being able to enrich uranium. That is what they use to eventually build a nuclear weapon. So they wouldn't be able to enrich those for a number of years. There would be sanctions that Iran is facing now that would be lifted, and potentially frozen assets that would be unfrozen. Translation, that would mean a sort of money windfall for Iran and a lot of funding they would then have access to. But again, what that would mean is an end to the war, an opening up of the Strait of Hormuz, and then this deal on the nuclear situation there. So that is what is on the table right now. President Trump sort of laid out the stakes yesterday from the Oval Office. This is what he had to say.
They want to make a deal badly, and we'll see if we get there. If we get there, they can't have nuclear weapons. You know, it's very simple. But what's not to submit? So they had a Navy with 159 ships, and now every ship is blown to pieces and lying at the bottom of the water.
Again, I really want to stress, we've heard those very same things before from President Trump. We have been in this situation, and every single deal thus far has fallen apart. So recent history, not on the side of a peace deal, but it is going to have to work at some point. So here where we are, the Gulf nations really hoping this is the real deal, the one that actually ends the conflict. You know, you've got leaders here in Qatar and other places, even today, speaking with Pakistani leaders just 2 days ago, speaking with President Trump directly, really urging the United States and Iran through back channels to continue this process toward a peaceful end. The economies here in the region have really been decimated in a serious way. Several industries have taken major hits as a result of this war. And then the energy targets that have literally gotten hit in just the last 2 or 3 days from Iranian drones and missiles, the region clearly ready for that to end, wanting that to stop, Nicole. So this is the sort of state of play here as we watch for the next 24 hours. President Trump says by Friday, that deadline is when his expectation is that Iran responds to this.
So, Joe, what is the latest from Pakistan? Because we know they have really taken the lead on kind of trying to play that peacemaker role between the U.S. and Iran.
Yeah, they have, and they continue to do that. Right now, we've heard actually from their prime minister, who says that he's been fielding calls today from several other parties that are involved in this in conflict in one way or another. And certainly there are open channels with the Americans and the Iranians. We haven't heard about specific conversations yet with them. But again, just today, actually, within the last few hours, the foreign minister from Qatar here had a conversation with the Pakistanis, with his counterpart, and with the prime minister, saying that those conversations went well. So again, it seems like they're doing the work and keeping everyone here in the region updated on the progress of those talks. Again, we will see how in the next 24 hours Iran comes out publicly and what they say as the hours tick away here.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.